Leslie here?
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty, I would like to reconvene the regular Board of Education meeting at 7:09. I apologize for the delay. The roll call shows that all board and staff members are present. And today, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Wild Rose Elementary School. If we could have Dr. Miller come on up and introduce her students.
Good evening, President Wong, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Therosian and Cabinet, and our audience. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Leslie Miller. I'm principal here at Wild Rose. And with me tonight are members of our GATE group. And so I'm going to introduce each of them. We have Katie Knowles, and we have Feno Horauchi, and we have Nicholas Bogdan, and they're going to lead us in the pledge.
Stand.
Thank you.
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our GATE students have returned from Astro Camp to us, and one of the projects our GATE students have been continuing is the Great Bear Times, and we brought you each a copy this evening so that you can highlight and spotlight our students. And I'm going to ask Katie to start with Mr. Brian Wong and pass these out. And Nicholas is actually featured this month in our Great Bear Times. Nicholas, do you want to share about what you're featured about?
I'm featured about this book, and it's called Into No Man's Land, and it's about this person named Patrick, and then he joins the U.S. Marines and fights in Vietnam, and then he comes home.
And what did you think of the book?
And it's good.
There we go. A rousing rendition of the book. And then Katie and Fennel returned from Astro Camp. And would you like to tell about your favorite activities at Astro Camp?
My favorite activity that I did at Astro Camp was launching bottle rockets.
My favorite activity at Astro Camp was long division, even though it was not actually long division.
Was fun long division? Yes.
All right, fun long division. I like it. Go math. All right, thank you very much. From Wild Rose to our board and to our superintendent, thank you for this honor.
Well, thank you very much. On to item number 4, the report of the Board of Education closed session held on this date. The board took no action on the expulsion hearing or collective bargaining. Order of business. Board agenda has items which include input for representatives for agendized matters. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
We do not.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland.
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion
You want-
carries
you wanna
5-0.
Excuse me, can we change that to me abstaining, since I was not here for that particular meeting?
But you don't have to be here, you just have to receive it.
That's okay.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Recognitions and communications, the Board of Education would like to congratulate and recognize the accomplishments of those students who participated in the First District PTA Reflections Competition in various categories. Dr. Throsian?
We are fortunate today to have such a full audience, and this is to celebrate our participation in the PTA Reflections competition that we have each year. I think we've had more participants this year than any other, and it really is a tribute to the leadership of our PTA, and they are such wonderful partners for us. I'd like to invite, yes, absolutely. I'd like to invite PTA Council President Gretchen Tagavia to the podium, and she will begin introducing the students, and as well as the rest of her team.
Good evening. I have with me tonight Karen Schultz and Nazik Moran. They were both served as co-reflections chairmen this year for our PTA Council. And they're going to be presenting the awards to the recipients by schools. And we're going to start with Mayflower. So Karen, or
Hello, thanks for coming. Okay, we're going to start with Mayflower, Jose Elias Pladeanda, for Special Artist Division. Luke Munoz for Visual Arts, Mayflower. Come on down. Meredith Dickinson, Visual Arts, Mayflower. Rowan Dorsey, Mayflower, Photography. Walker Andrews, Photography, Mayflower. And actually Walker has two, Literature and Photography.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay. These are for Monroe. The first winner, Ella Andrews. Evelyn Lockerbie. Lorenzo Lascano.
Okay, from Brad Oaks, we have Sarah Tripp, Visual Arts. Elijah Luce, Visual Arts. Piper Lynn Pavanelli, Visual Arts. And Esther Carisu for Visual Arts, who not only won at Brad Oaks, she won council and she won the district, first district, which just to really impress you guys, the PTA First District goes from Burbank to like Laverne. It's huge, and there are huge school districts within it, And the fact that we got a first place in district and a third place, which we're coming up, is really exciting. So, okay, go ahead.
Yes, okay. All right, from Clifton, we have Jennifer Jackson. And Courtney Glass. Oh, did I not announce? Oh, those are the wrong ones. Oh my gosh. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, guys.
All right, who's this? All right, they won big. What? They familiar. I know, those are familiar names. Sorry. Okay, who's this? I know they did have people, but let's move on. Who is this, please? All right, from Canyon Oaks, ladies and gentlemen, David. What's David's last name? No. Sorry, David, no. Thank you. And Edward Spencer. Now you. I'll be Clement.
All right, so here's Clifton, the real ones. Okay, Natalie Nash, literature.
I like real.
Catherine Rehencia, dance. So first year we've had dance, so that was nice. Ashlyn Vales, photography. And Sophia Lee, who won the Clifton Council and came in third in the district for music composition. And Sydney Geoffrey in visual arts.
Yep, those are mine. These I can't get wrong. Plymouth Elementary. We have my son, Daniel Moran, and his twin sister, Emily Moran. There we go. And Danica Larico. All right, Danica. There you go.
And from Santa Fe, we have Isabella Valdivias for visual arts. And Adam Joyner, photography.
Oh, okay. These are right? Just making sure. All right, Monrovia High School, we have Caitlin Little for literature. I don't think she's. And also we have, I can't pronounce. Fungi Lu for visual arts. And the last one would be Kevin Stern for visual arts. All right, that's it. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Take a picture of everybody and Wendy are
We're going We gotta have a room for all this?
Board, can you come on up here, please? I want to make sure they're not here. I don't know who they are. Maybe get the 12th grade person to see if they're here.
We're going to call one more name that was missed, but nonetheless, we'd like to award Bailey Riley. If you could come up and be recognized.
I understand we're having a small reception outside, so all the parents want to join. They're wearing
Thank you.
Susan. Susan.
Make sure she gets her.
Yeah.
Well.
Which one came up? Oh, that one. I know. Susan. Susan. Okay, she just walked out with her dad.
No, they're just having a reception. I said if they're having dinner, I'll go out there, but if not, we can just keep going.
It's on the menu.
There you
All right.
go.
The whole crowd's gone now.
Devastated.
If that's what they have.
No, I'm going to report. I got pictures and everything.
I'm hungry, Ed.
Wow. Okay, you better get him going, President.
All righty, if we can move the meeting along a little, so if you are going to be celebrating your children, as you should, if we can move to the outer room, please, so we can move forward. Thank you. The Board of Education would like to recognize the 2017 Golden Apple recipient, Jonah Ewell, for her tireless commitment to service in the Monrovia community. Dr. Therosian?
Mrs. Ewell, would you meet me at the podium, please? I just wanted to make sure that Joni Yule was up here so that I could read a few words and have everybody gaze upon her, because she really likes that. Actually, she's one of the most modest people I know, and it's time that we celebrated all that she does for Monrovia Unified, and to really acknowledge what she provides to our students. But we've written it down so I don't miss anything. The Golden Apple Award celebrates our valuable volunteers from each of the districts in the Administrator's Region 15. Our charter has been celebrating our volunteers at the Golden Apple Awards for more than 20 years. In each of our districts, art, the history, traditions, cultures of our school is often dependent upon the work of our volunteers. And at the Golden Apple event, we both honored and embarrassed our exemplary volunteer, Joni Yule. Joni does the work she does without a desire for praise or recognition. She is tireless in the work that she does and is an inspiration to all of us who have committed ourselves to public education and the students we serve. Joni has a long history in the Monrovia Unified School District and is a Monrovia High School graduate. She graduated with the distinct honor of student body president, thespian, and was voted as outstanding in the 1971 yearbook, her senior year. Joni has never lost her interest or love of school and helping students. She spends countless hours planning and preparing speakers, art walks, speeches to center us for Black History Month. She makes great things happen throughout Monrovia, Duarte, and the San Gabriel Valley with her participation and membership and leadership within the Monrovia Duarte Black Alumni Association. She teaches reading intervention to students on a daily basis in a local district and has an incredible spirit of caring, giving, understanding that our greatest asset as a people are the students for whom we care on a daily basis. We salute you, Joni Yule. Now, Joni provides wisdom also on a regular basis, and even when unprepared. So I'm going to ask her to say a few words if she would.
Monrovia Unified School District Board, Superintendent, and just friends out there. I'm very touched, moved, and honored by this award. It came, as indicated, unexpectedly, but it has been my mission from life to serve humanity. And I have to admit that there's a special place in my heart for the children, the future of our world. They're our most precious asset that we have in a community. And as such, it feels like every waking hour should be given to whatever anyone in the city of Monrovia can do to make sure they have a fabulous experience and that they become the best human beings they can be. I'm not so sure I'm the one who's doing that, but I'm sure gonna try hard to connect children with people who believe that same way. And that organization is the Monrovia Duarte Black Alumni Association, because they care about all children. We know that when all children feel good about themselves, then they not only aspire, but they accomplish great things. And when I can turn around and see that my brother, my sister, even if they don't look like me, can achieve great heights, then I know I can too. I think the Monrovia Unified School District really has a commitment to that. And how do you know that? Because they allow 4'9" Joni to come in and do things. So thank you all very much. And again, thank you for this honor.
Miss Joni? Kathy, can I say something about this wonderful human being before she takes the pictures? Miss Joni Yule, I think you are one of the sharpest, down-to-earth, classiest, articulate person that I've ever met. Your leadership is, I consider you the epitome the way you handle yourself, the way you speak to others, and your heart and your passion for kids is just second to none. And as one who is an American of African descent, and watching how you navigated the entire month along with your Black History board and membership that I see in the audience. I see Joy back there who hates to be on camera, so I'm calling your name out. I see all your friends in the back, your daughters, and it would behoove me not to say something about you. And I sincerely appreciate you and what you're doing for our entire Monrovia Unified School District. And thank you.
The Board of Education would like to congratulate Principal Jennifer Jackson and the wonderful teachers and staff of Clifton Middle School for the recent achievement on being named to the Schools to Watch by the California Distinguished Schools Association. Mr. Williams?
Yes, President Wong, thank you for this opportunity and privilege to acknowledge this wonderful school and its excellent leadership who received certificates earlier. That was pretty funny. But sincerely, you represent the district so well. One of the proudest moments I've had as an elected official was being in Sacramento and going through the things that we went through. We had the opportunity to be with Mr. T, the top dog in the California leadership as far as schools. You can see by the pictures there. Thank you, Shoshana, for that. Dr. Jackson and I, along with Dr. Kaiser, and you can see the wonderful teachers, and of course, Mr. Glass in the background. It was just a absolute privilege to sit at the table and receive such an award. So I understand, Dr. Rossi, I'm going to the podium because I do have an additional certificate that I'd like to acknowledge. And it reads, the County of Los Angeles awards Clifton Middle School placement on California Schools to Watch list. Congratulations on being recognized as a model middle school for academic excellence, social equity, and responsiveness to our early adolescents. It's dated March the 3rd. It is signed by Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger. So congratulations.
That's true, too.
Oh, boy. Okay, I'm going to have to squinch this bad boy. All right, guys, let me put my chest out with these women glasses on. Forgive me. I found out at the age of 57, 6 months ago, that I squinch. And so henceforth, I can see. I just wanted to share the California Department of Education Certificate of Recognition that was brought to our attention during the extravaganza on the 23rd. And it reads, Monrovia School Board of Education by the California Department of Education in partnership with the California Middle Grades Alliance for leadership in providing policy, resources, and organizational support for fostering positive and productive middle grade learning environment for students and staff, and for an enduring commitment to academic excellence and continued achievements at the district's middle schools. This is signed by none other than the State Superintendent of Public Instructions, Mr. Tom Lexon? Thank you. I know him, guys. Also, Dr. Tarosian has given me the privilege to read these certificates on the entire district's behalf. And it reads, congratulations to Mr. Courtney Glass and Clifton Middle School on being named School to Watch. Of course, it's signed by our president and our superintendent and the likes of Catherine Fadukian Tarosian. I like saying her name. Also, congratulations to Mrs. Jennifer Jackson and Clifton Middle School in being named School to Watch, also signed by our board presidents and Dr. Catherine Fadukian Tarosian. I'm not sure what this is. I figure the glass was my first glitch for the night. I don't want to screw that up. Am I supposed to read that? Great. Thank you very much. You guys want to say something, please?
This experience, the last 2.5 years at Clifton, have been unbelievable. It's nothing short of hard work on behalf of every single employee on that campus, but we are honored and humbled by the entire experience, and it's taken us to new levels, and we're just enjoying the ride at this moment. So we just want to say thank you to the board and the district and everybody who's been in support of our journey, and we humbly accept these gifts tonight. So thank you.
Mr. Glass? Picture time. You're right. You know, I would be remiss if I didn't share the pictures. We did have an opportunity to go to the state capitol. We saw Senator Anthony Portantino. We also saw Assemblywoman for the 48th District, Blanca Rubio. And of course, we saw the staff and leaders for the Assemblyman Chris Holden. So you can see by the picture, we had a great time. So thank you again, Clifton Middle School.
You know, these are the things, honestly, that the district really strives to achieve. These type of awards are more than just a plaque. They're more than just a piece of paper and hang on the wall and say, hey, guys, good job. You know, this is to signify they're one of 11 schools in the state. You know, that they're one of, was it 270 in the nation to achieve this level. These are not things that they just give out just because. These are things that are hard earned, and it's fantastic because we know the hard work you guys put into this. It's more of a reaffirmation for the students and to the parents that what you guys are doing is on the top. You guys are the cutting edge. You do represent the district in the best of what we have to offer. You are helping us provide world-class schools for world-class students, and we appreciate it. Moving on to board member reports. Mr. Williams.
Thank you for another opportunity, Board President Wong. I see Dr. K in the back. Dr. K, would you help me with my report and escort yourself to the podium? I just think you need to say something. My report is based on this gentleman sitting right up front here, Jose Elias, my new homie. We're dappers. And his wonderful mother, his grandfather in the back. I see his uncle. I see his grandma, and it was just a wonderful opportunity we had at Mayflower with the likes of our school resource officer, Officer Rano. You probably know the story, but I would rather Dr. K, the leader of this school, articulate exactly what happened with regards to this wonderful human being that's sitting right in front of us.
Well, thank you so much. I think just kind of in a nutshell, it was just great to see the Monrovia Police Department come together with the community and recognize a need for Jose, and just represent Mayflower in the best way possible, and just to recognize the need and say, you know what, this is what our community is all about. We come together when we see a need, and we make things happen, and it couldn't have happened to anyone better than my main man, Jose, who is the shining light at our school, who's always smiling. Right now he's like watching the pictures like, which one are they showing? But usually he's like really, really smiley up on just everywhere on campus, and everyone knows him. And so we were just really thrilled and very excited to have that special recognition for him, and to be able to serve a need. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. K.
Last picture of the day.
Also, forgive me, I did have another opportunity along with Dr. Terosian to witness the likes of Ron Husband, who is a 1971 graduate, 68 I believe. Forgive me if I got the year wrong, but he is an alumni of Monrovia High School, as well as a animator for Disneyland, retired. Some of you know his work. I can't mention all the characters, but his reception at Clifton Middle School was just totally overwhelming. Mrs. Jackson and Mr. Glasser in the back. I've known Mr. Hudson for 22 years. I've never seen him smile so much. He was overwhelmed with the attendance, the attention. I wanted to tell you that, Jennifer, that he thought that you were just excellent. And he spoke about that a lot, and the fact that he's an alumni at Clifton. He was so emotional when we were at the church. It was just outstanding. I wish you were there to hear that. But I just want to give some recognition to this gentleman. Very soft-spoken. For those who were there, he's very soft-spoken to the point where the kids were just so quiet. And if Mrs. Jackson, if you recall, he was drawing Dr. Terosian. He was making animation drawings on the screen, and they were just ooh, oh, and it was just overwhelming. So my report concludes with this wonderful person and the likes of Ron Husband. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, and we'll move on to the student board member report. Amy.
Since my last report, we had a school-wide all right in which all of our high school students wrote a response to a document-based question. In our essays, we determined who was at fault for the death of Romeo and Juliet. In addition to the All Right, Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park Juniors are preparing for this year's SBAC by attending enrichment courses 3 days a week after school. Mr. Daniel Chacon and our staff accompanied a group of drama students to see the play Zoot Suit at the Mark Taper Forum in downtown Los Angeles on February 21st. The theater offered our school this opportunity for a flat fee of $50, and we all hopped on the gold line to see this amazing production. Last but certainly not least, on Sunday, March 19th, the WAS visiting committees for all of our alternative schools will attend a reception at 6 p.m. at the adult school. Board members, district administrators, and any stakeholder of the alternative programs are welcome to join us, as we will get to know our visiting committee members over some light refreshments. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll have a report from Dr. Throsian.
Thank you. I've invited from Assemblymember Holden's office, Valente Riddle, who will give us a legislative update. She would go to the podium about Assembly Bill 586.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. As stated, my name is Valente Riddle, and I'm the Senior Field Representative for Assemblymember Chris Holden, and I'm also working on some policy areas that he has proposed. And so I thank you for this opportunity to have an opportunity to ask not only help you to be more familiar with, but to also ask for your support. AB 586 is the K through 12 teacher professional development bill that Mr. Holden has recently introduced. This will allow newly accredited teachers either an individual tax credit or a deduction on their professional development expenses that will help to reduce some of the California teacher shortages. We're hoping that it will be an enticement. And so Mr. Holden is producing these types of bills because of the need for teachers to come into this profession, and he feels that with some of the early tax or some of the early expenses that are coupled with becoming a teacher and getting accredited, that this will be an incentive for them. For instance, out of pocket for teachers average about $2,000 for an LEA-based programs that charge fees to as much as $5,000 for college and universities. That's quite a hit for a new employee. And no offense on the teacher salary, but that's quite a hit. And so this tax credit will assist them in recouping some of that money. This will be going before its first committee next week. And so what we've done is we've asked for letters of support to be written. I've sent a fact sheet and a sample letter to Board Member Terrence Williams, and I'd ask that he share that with you all so that we will be able to have your support in this particular area. And I thank you very much for allowing me to come and speak about that. We have some exciting other items that are being presented, which some of you may have heard No on 710 Tunnel. That's exciting. And also the public transportation for students under Assembly Bill 17. So those will directly impact your students. Thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you. Dr. Throsian?
I also just want to take a moment to thank the organizers and presenters at our Staff Development Day, our Professional Development Day on Monday. We had teachers teaching teachers and truly demonstrating their expertise and ability to teach at any level. And we had a very, very productive day. I do want to thank them as well as Charles, Connie, Darvin, and Sue, who helped organize the event.
Thank you, Dr. Throsian. Now we'd like to move to the public comments for items not on the agenda. The Board of Education encourages public participation and invites you to share your views on schools business. Ms. Huff, do we have any speakers?
Board President Wong, I'd like to invite Susan Hirsch to the podium.
Ms. Hirsch?
Good evening, Board President Wong, board members, Dr. Throsian, and members of Cabinet. This evening, I'm bringing to you a report from the Community Services Division of the city. The first item is from the Healing Connections Coalition. This is the month of March, and so again, we are in the middle of March for Balance. We have scheduled the in-reaches at each of our high schools and middle schools, beginning tomorrow at Canyon Oaks High School, and that will take place during lunch, where service providers and others will be there to engage with the students and talk about the ups and downs of life and how to handle those things, providing them with some of the tools of life's challenges. On Friday, March 10th, we will be at Clifton Middle School during lunch. Tuesday, March 14th, we'll be at Santa Fe. And on Thursday, March 16th, we'll be at Monrovia High School. That is a part of the week-long events at Monrovia High School called Togetherness Week. So we're very excited about that because Healing Connections is now an official club on the Monrovia High School campus as well. So we're entering into lots of different activities with the students as a club. The next thing I want to bring to you is the Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year event next Thursday, March 16th at the Doubletree. That begins at 5:30 p.m. As you may recall, this honors one youth each year who has, through participation at the club, overcome obstacles in life. And this year, the winner of the local event, which provides a $500 scholarship, is Miss Michaela Lee from the high school. She then goes on to a national competition where there is additional scholarship money available. I also want to remind everyone in the city that this is our opportunity to participate in the community-wide Parks Need Assessment. So dream big, anything, sky is the limit in our dreams as far as what we want out of parks. And this includes our existing parks, but also there may be areas in your neighborhood that you think need a park. We have some areas that are deficient in park space, so we need to hear from you. There's going to be a special community meeting on April 13th from 7 to 9 at the community center. We also have another exciting piece coming up because we have the 1917 Seagrave fire engine that started its existence in our own Monrovia Fire Department, and we're lucky enough to have it back in Monrovia. But it's not in complete working condition, so there is a GoFundMe page because this year, for our wonderful Monrovia Days Parade, thank you so much for bringing that back, we would like to have the Seagrave fire truck up and working to celebrate its 100th year of existence. So you can go to Seagrave Fire Engine Repair GoFundMe. And lastly, I want to remind everyone, if they have not registered to vote, that we do have a city election on April 11th. We have positions at both city council and the mayor up. Thank you for this opportunity to share this information from the city.
Thank you, Ms. Hirsch. Ms. Huff, do we have any other speakers?
There are none.
Thank you. Item 8, public comment for items on the agendas, on the open session agenda. Do we have any speakers?
There are none.
Thank you. Item G1, memo of understanding with Pacific College. I understand Mr. Fertig is going to speak on this.
Thank you, President Wong, members of the school board, Dr. Thorosian, and members of the cabinet. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to come before you today and talk to you about this. This is a real exciting time in adult ed. We've been kind of lumped together in many ways with certain things like the community college system, and we're kind of finding that there's a lot of opportunities out there that were not available in the past. We've had a wonderful opportunity ourselves to become acquainted with and work with a fine four-year college, it's WASC accredited, by the name of Pacific College. And we are working with them to create a possible Bachelor's of Science program in Healthcare Administration that would be offered concurrently by both ourselves and them. If you want to know a little bit more about Pacific College, they were actually established in 1993 by the community college and state university educators to provide high-quality post-secondary education. They are accredited by WASC. They do offer bachelor's, including a BS in nursing that is accredited by the Commission of Collegiate Nursing Education. They have satellite campuses all over the area. We've worked with them mostly in the Orange County because of their closeness and proximity. In discussing with them some of the opportunities, the biggest one that seemed to come up was a Bachelor's of Science in Healthcare Administration. And I'd like to talk a little bit why we thought that that would be a good partnership for us to enter into, given the fact that we offer allied healthcare programs in the cases of certified nursing assistant, medical assistant, and pharmacy tech. And the fact that they have this bachelor's program, it felt like a natural fit that we could begin to create the first part of that degree. This is a high sought-after career. By 2024, 17%, there will be a 17% increase for need of health service managers in the employment industry. That's 389,300 health service manager jobs are projected in the United States. And 56,300 additional managers will be needed between that time. This increased demand for this makes it a very high profile position that we would want to look at. There's reasons that this job has such a high increased demand. The first one is diversification. Our healthcare industry is changing regularly, and they're offering new services, and in order to meet those needs, there need to be folks that are willing to oversee those. We have a rise in for-profit businesses that are working alongside of our healthcare programs, and they include urgent care, physical therapy, home health care, medical technology companies, and for-profit businesses. And these businesses require managers with healthcare expertise and also to bring administrative skills to make those businesses successful. And finally, the retiring baby boomers, who will be bringing a lot of folks who have healthcare needs later on in their lives to grow those numbers. Also, we have legislation in the healthcare laws and the changes that possibly in the Affordable Health Care Act. There are also more diversification and more need for healthcare managers that can take those new changes, and then of course with new technology. Another thing that attracted us to this Bachelor's of Science degree is that the median wage for medical and health service managers is $94,500. That's very competitive after a 4-year accredited college degree to start at a salary at that level. MCAS students, as we worked closely with them, and I have to give credit to my staff, specifically Mr. Russell, for working closely with them as we looked at our programs. We are almost halfway to a bachelor's degree in the articulation agreement, and that is significant. I want you to take a look at this slide here. Pacific College will actually accept 45 semester credits for our allied health training from the Monrovia Community Adult School in the 2 programs of medical assistant and pharmacy tech. There's an additional 16 semester credits of general ed classes that we could offer on our campuses to the residents of Monrovia and the surrounding area in college English, college algebra, sociology, psychology, and speech. These would be folks who would be hired actually by Pacific College, but the program could be housed at the adult school to continue the program. If you follow to the next one, we have Bachelor's of Science Upper Division, which is 12 hours, and Bachelor's of Science Upper Division 47 for a total of 120 units. So if you finish our allied health programs, you've already got 45 units. If you get the 16 that you can take locally here from professionals who would be hired through the college, you could be halfway done. So that's a major reason for us to take a look. Specific courses that compromise the 120 units are listed. For us, the allied program credits would be 45. That's listed at the top. English composition, college algebra, psychology, sociology, and speech communication bring you to 61 units. So by the time you were to leave the Monrovia Community Adult School campus, you're halfway done. One credit more than halfway done to your 120. Currently, the allied healthcare programs that we run, as you guys probably are well aware, at the highest cost about $750. Now, I know there's a lot of good deals out there for education, but $750 for 2 years equivalent of college or pretty close is one of the best. As we've worked closely with our friends, and I'll introduce them later, who are here from Pacific College, we're also able to get their costs down to bring some of the best leverage to Monrovia. The Healthcare Administration core classes, which you'll see at the bottom there, are all classes that would be offered through Pacific College to our students, who would receive priority also in the acceptance process. If you know anybody who's trying to get into healthcare, the lines at Citrus College, a 3-year waiting list to become an RN. And that's an accurate number. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. So one of the things that drew us to Pacific College is that they're now, and correct me if I'm wrong, nod or shake your head, they are now approved in the future to be the biggest provider or to have the most spots to go forward with RN programs. So that's another partnership that was accurate, right? Okay, just making sure. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. Wanted fact checkers back there. So the allied health cost through us would be $500 is our cost. General ed classes, 15 units, about $750. Pacific College Upper Division, the second half of that bachelor's degree, would be at a price of $21,000. I have 2 kids in college personally myself. I can't get a bachelor's degree for $24,000 anywhere. And then books and supplies, we guesstimated $2,000. I'm not sure how close that is, having bought some books and supplies recently for my college students. But I want to pull a couple of them home and put them in this. But the benefits to us, and it's funny because this started, and many of you might remember this, about 6-7 years ago, some of us talked about eventually having degree programs through the Monrovia Community Adult School. It's been a long, arduous journey because it's hard to get people to come to the table and see a benefit there and want to partner with a community an adult school such as us. But because of our diligence in our curriculum and in the programs that we offer and our certification levels, we've been able to bring people to the table. Pacific College is the first one that we've had that has actually reached a level where they're ready to work with us. MCAS students will have significant benefits. The savings fiscally towards a bachelor's degree is amazing. MUSD high school students could complete our pharmacy tech program, think about this, on weekends, and then complete a bachelor's degree in 2 years. And if they complete this degree, again, the median salary is in the 90,000s. So I say that with all sobriety. That is a very, very good opportunity. MUSD teachers could receive priority in being hired to teach some of the general education courses for Pacific College. If you have the right degrees and credentials, our teachers could teach in this program. All classes are online and 8 weeks in length. These classes are able to be done in a timely manner. Students can accelerate coursework to complete in less than 2 years. And financial aid is available to all those students who qualify. With simple Pell Grants, if just the basic $5,000 Pell Grant each year, you can cut this cost in half for those who would be eligible for that type of financial aid. Cost to MCAS at MUSD is always important to take a look at that. Costs are very minimal, and the reason why is because the college instructors are hired and paid for by Pacific College. MCAS would provide the computer lab. We would provide tutors. We currently already provide computer labs and tutors for students in other programs. This would be a minimal cost. We have these labs. We have academic teachers in an academic lab that could help these students as they progress through. Other things that I think are important for us to look at as we take a look at this is that we have an opportunity to take the classes that we have now that we have one college that's accepted them, and we can look at other colleges and other programs. Our construction program is one that we've looked at that could possibly provide some of this towards a degree program in the area, and we're excited. You have to kind of get the street cred to do this. I don't know another adult ed that's done this, John. I mean, do you have any? We think we're it. We want to be careful again when we say that. We think we're it. We think we're the only one who's ever done this. So, and hats off. I would like to acknowledge, and we've worked a couple years almost with these folks. William Nelson, the president and Donna Wu, the vice president, and Kevin Sims is here as a board member also. And we're grateful for all of them for coming out to support this. They're excited as we are. They were skeptical at first, but we kept calling them and showing up. And we even drove to Orange County sometimes and literally walked into their office while they're having other meetings, and they were gracious to make us wait outside, but finally meet with us on some things. But at this point in time, we're confident that this is a good opportunity, and we wanted to inform you of it and let you guys know that we feel that it's in a good place. And they're available for questions also if you'd like to have some questions from the college.
I got a compliment, Flint. I'd just like to publicly compliment you and Mr. Russell for the articulation of this MOU with Pacific. This is just outstanding. Bragging rights. And so I just wanted to say that,
Thank you, Vice
Yeah,
President.
and you say it's a good opportunity. It's a great opportunity, and thank you, John, everybody on staff, everybody at MCAS, and thanks to Pacific College for working with these guys. And it's an amazing opportunity. I think you are it. When you say you are it, I think you guys are it. And keep on doing what you're doing. Thanks so much. And I move. Let's see, are we making a motion on that? No, it's just a no.
The only question I had was, are any of these classes going to be eligible for a dual enrollment type of?
Yes and no. The reason this is able to work is because we're an adult school, not a high school. And so we have an opportunity here to make the adult school classes count for adult school, but also count for college. Now, I'm sure if you think of the tiers a few slides back, and I will refer to maybe Mr. Russell on this one. Sometimes it's smart for me to let him talk about some of this. The lower division general ed classes, which will be taught by some of our teachers, we could probably work closely with Sue to see if those classes, since they're working in a WASC accredited college system, could also work for high school courses for us. But we haven't addressed that alignment yet. It's a possibility. Best way to put it. Thank you, John.
Once again, and this is important for all the parents out there to understand. This district is driven by trying to create as many avenues of success for our students that are possible. And the hard work that Flint and John have put together to do this goes to show we're not looking to create jobs for our students. We're looking for careers. And these type of things are careers. This isn't one of those, hey, I'm going to go work at McDonald's when I get out of school because I have nothing else to do. This is something in which we can almost integrate with our existing coursework. It's not a big leap to go from what they're doing currently, and if they have an interest, to spend some time, in this particular case, just on the weekends to see if this is something that is a fit for them. The cost is incredibly reasonable. So if there are a number of families out there, and based on the success that we've had in our adult school classes in the healthcare arena, there's no shortage of people who are interested in this. But this is the first time we've been able to take it beyond just trying to get a certificate to a degree. This is something that all of the students, and for that matter, their parents, can take with them. And so I would tell you, if the healthcare industry is something that you have been interested in, please stop by and talk to Mr. Fertig. Please go to the adult school on Mountain, or you could stop by here at the district and we could provide additional information. There is no shortage of people who would say, I'll take a $90,000 a year job in a career in an industry that is booming versus contracting. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I know these two will not let you down, and if anything, I'm sure you're going to want to expand it. And hopefully we can do more as well to do similar type programs in other areas and try to, again, create as many opportunities for our students as humanly possible.
Got an associate's degree in coding coming next. That's our big one. So
yeah.
See you. Thank you.
Pacific, would you care to comment or?
President Wong and members of the board, thank you very much for providing us with this opportunity. Again, I think you have a very progressive board and a very progressive idea for education. This is something that we have been working with Mr. Russell and Mr. Fertig over the years, where we've talked about creating a stackable program. In other words, taking what these people have already learned through your adult education program and being able to add to it to move them up the career ladder. This doesn't mean that we're just going to be offering them a job that's $1 or $2 an hour more, but it's actually moving them up from where they're starting their career into a middle class. So we're looking forward to this opportunity to work with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If we can move on then to educational services, Dr. Kaiser.
Good evening, Board. We have before you tonight a memorandum that we're seeking approval on that is a data sharing effort between all school districts within the Los Angeles County to specifically share foster youth information. The ability to share information for foster youth population is particularly critical. The Educational Passport System, which is referred to as the EPS, was designed to benefit students across Los Angeles County while also protecting the privacy of foster youth, which is critical as we move forward in a system like this. The EPS allows for the coordination of educational services to foster youth, including the transfer of student educational records. The coordination of information will allow the Monrovia Unified School District to identify and support foster youth to achieve optimal academic performance. There is no cost associated with this MOU, and what this system allows us to do is to track our foster youth and not lose track of them.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Ping pong.
Comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Williams?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board President Wong?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. I'm always in such a rush to listen to what Dr. Kaiser has to say. I skipped an item, so I'll have to go back.
So moved on consent.
Second.
Comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Williams?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board President Wong?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
On to second interim financial report for the 2016-17 year. Ms. Wu?
Yes, good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Terenzi, and Kevin and the staff. As you know that Ed Code required the district to submit the County of Education the two major reports. The first report we submit back to December, that's called the first interim report. Today we submit a second interim report to the board for approval. So based on the guideline, we have the option to self-certify, which is the positive, qualified, and the negative. And tonight, we submit a board for district second interim report with the self-qualification, so for positive self-certification, which means that the district has the ability to meet its financial obligation for current and the next 2 school years. So what kind of guideline the district based on to prepare our financial report? We use the guideline from the California Department of Education, School Service of California, the County Office of Education, and CalSTRS and CalPERS bulletins and announcement. As you know, that CalSTRS and CalPERS is the two organizations to provide the legislative rule regulation to guiding our certificate employees pension plan as well as classified employees pension plan, and the other professional resources which there's any possibility the rule regulation impact of financial bottom line, such as recently the state passed a rule that all the public agencies, including school district, we are required to put a sign for the single unit bathroom. So that rule and the regulation will cost a district couple $1,000 to put all the signs on outside our bathroom in order to in compliance with the new rule regulations. So compared with the first interim report, which we submitted back to December, here's some changes. For the revenue side, when we receive more revenue, we adjust our budget accordingly. So when governor released the preliminary budget for 17-18, he increased the projection for the gap funding. So the 1.20% increase for gap funding equivalent to us is $33,000, which means that this year we will receive $33,000 more compared with first interim report. So we receive more money for Medicare for $25,000, which we have not received for a couple of years because there's a changes the way how the state provide funding to us. And we also received the prior testing funding for $15,000 that was not projected in the first interim report. The last item is the adult education transfer. A couple of years ago, the district transferred to adult education around $380,000 to keep the adult education program function for the program they provide for our high school students. Those services cannot be paid by adult education block grant. So we are required to support that program. The other side of the supporting is, for example, COP. A couple of years, actually a while ago, the district had issued the certificate of participation notes, which is 2/3 of the notes supposed paid by adult education program. But unfortunately, none of the program side money can be paid for that. So the district will transfer the general fund money to support the program in order to meet our obligation to pay the COP loan. So when the adult education program had been very graciously, they are willing to decrease the original $380,000 transfer to a lower dollar amount. So beginning of school year, we projected $200,000, but based on the increase of program demand for the high school credit recovery, we realized that the $250,000 annual application cost will be more realistic. So that's why we increased $50,000 transfer. For the expenditure side, we have personal changes all year around. Based on the changes, then we adjust our projection for each category for the salary and benefit, supplies and equipment, and indirect cost. So those adjustments, the net of the total adjustment for the revenue as well as the expenditure is all favorable. Because when you have more revenue, it's favorable. When you have less expenditure, is also the favorable result to our bottom line. This is a comparison for the revenue side from the first interim report versus second interim report. So the first category in the big bar is the LCFF. Compared with the first interim report, the total revenue is dropped. It's because of the gap funding increase versus $50,000 additional transfer to the adult education program. However, for the federal program, because of more money, which is not shown in the first interim, that is the plus. And the testing and the rental increase is all make our revenue at the second interim higher than first interim. This is the pie chart for the total expenditure. We project at the second interim report, our salary and benefit will come up 78% of our total budget. And the books and supplies is 6%. The other operation is around 15%. This percentage is in line with our first interim report. But however, as the board may recall that compared with the last school year, the 15-16 school year, the pie chart, the salary and benefit is decreased 2%. At the meantime, the books and supplies percentage increased 2%, and the service and the operation also increased. One of the reasons the increase of books supply because we budgeted $850,000 for the English language textbook adoption. So because of that adoption will bump up the total budget for books and supplies increase. In the meantime, when you talk about total budget and then squeeze down the salary and the benefit portion. This is the changes for the multi-year projection we use from the first interim and the second interim. And the cost the cost of living adjustment increase in the 17-18 and the 0.02% decrease. The gap funding and the increase accordingly starting from this year and the next 2 years. And the unduplicate student count is decreased a little bit. I hope that for the parents who watch our presentation tonight, make sure that if the family meets the requirement to apply the free reduced meal, if your kids is in the titles of English language, or if you're foster youth students, please make sure that you submit application, because by submit application, the district will receive more funding, and in turn, we can support your students' education. The one-time money, in this school year, we project to receive $1.1 million. It is an assumption that the state will fund us at $217 per ADA. This dollar amount will drop significantly to the 17-18, because in the 17-18, the state only fund us at $48 per ADA. From $217 to $48, this is a tremendous job for per ADA basis. In addition, the decline in enrollment means that we will receive less money. So PERS district contribution, you can see that increase. This year stayed at the same, but the next 2 years has increased. Next year is 0.3%, and the year after is 1.6%. 1% increase in the PERS is equivalent to $200,000 for the district. For the STIRS, 1% increase is equivalent almost $500,000 for the district. This is the increase each year. So that is a tremendous challenge for us in the future budget. This is a multi-year projection was prepared based on the assumption in the prior slide. So first row is the revenue for the current year and the next 2 years. The next one is the expenditure. I want to bring to the board attention that we are in the process to implement the PARS for the Teachers Association for retirement. So as a result of the PARS retirement incentive plan, it will help us, the cost will drop in the 17-18. However, the continuous increase for the health welfare, STIRS, and the PERS, our expenditure will catch up soon in the 18-19 school year. The initial calculation based on the over years increase for the car PERS, car STIRS, and the health insurance, it will cost district it will cost just over $1 million each year because of increase of this cost. So again, we will have a positive balance for this year. The unopposed unassigned, which means that this is the money for the board to decide for whatever we need to support our program, is $8.5 million. This balance will be decreased to $5.6 million in 17-18, and the 18-19 will be dropped around $500,000. Within this unopposed unassigned balance, there's a one-time funding, as I explained to the board in the prior slides, and there's ongoing funding. So basically, up to 17-18, where districts heavily rely on the one-time funding to keep our bottom line positive, but in 18-19, it is a big challenge, because you see, we have not used any one-time money yet for this year, and the majority of last year, those one-time monies help us to keep our book balanced. Move forward for the 19 and 20, I put a big question mark is because we will have a lot of challenge, because the continuous cost growing and the decline in enrollment, and the state slow down its funding to the public school will put not only us. Some of the school districts, their budget are already negative in the 18 and 19. So we're fortunate that we have a balance for 18-19, but we will see the challenge in 19 and 20 school years. Next step is we are starting to prepare the 17-18 budget development, and we will know that sooner we'll finalize the MTA Plus program, which is retirement incentive plan. I think we still the enrollment is still open. The governor's mid-revision will provide us the guideline for close this year's school book as well as next year's budget. And we will have a public hearing in June, and the board will adopt our budget for 17-18 in the second board meeting in June, which is 28th. Any questions for the second interim report?
I feel better about Prop 55 now.
I think we ought to do another one because clearly that'll solve all of our problems.
Hope so. Hope so. And actually, the guideline from the state is how the district get as a result of pass of the 55 is not clear right now because we have not get a detailed guidelines say, okay, how much additional funding per students the district will receive as a result of the pass Proposition 55.
So, to condense that down, obviously we're doing a second interim report, which means we're just kind of reporting the changes of things that have occurred since we passed our initial report back in December.
That's correct.
Right. So, the quick snapshot is we basically have about $140,000 more from either cost savings and or additional revenue that we weren't expecting, which is the upside. The downside is we are in our 4th or 5th year of deficit spending, which means every single year we're spending more money than we're taking in. The reason that we have not run into the problems that some of the other districts have had is the board as a whole has had some very prudent financial planning, and we anticipated some of these problems. The board's goal is always to try to make things as smooth as possible. We don't want to have these huge spikes up and down year to year based on what our elected officials in the state office roll down to us. So again, as you can see this very last chart, every year it gets a little bit worse and we're running out of room to make things work. I mean, just based on the fact that our ADA is dropping from 200 plus down to $47 or so for our one-time funding amounts. And then on top of that, you add that our fixed cost, which is our retirement plans for the PERS and STIRS, goes up 10%. You see a problem. Our revenue's dropping, our expenses are increasing dramatically, and these are out of our hands. This is out of the employees' hands, and most of all, it impacts the students in the classroom. So these are difficult times, and we're going to have to spend more time as we come up with our next budget to address all of these items to make sure that we have, I can't say long-term, but at least fiscally prudent, medium-term planning to make sure we don't hit these huge bumps in the road. We've had them in the past where we've started programs, and I thought they were phenomenal programs like the block grant or the block scheduling at the high school, but we were unable to keep them sustained because we were at the mercy of the state. So we're going to have discussions in the upcoming meetings to go over a variety of budget issues. But just know, based on what we see, it's more negative than positive.
And Connie, I'm not for this meeting, but what I'd like to see maybe on a Friday, whether this week or following week, on the unappropriated and unassigned balance, that is, you might as well just be taking a red line right through that. I want to know what that is. That's a pretty big gap. I mean, I want to know what's inside that. I want to know the particulars. It's obviously a bucket, and I want to know what's in that bucket, because if you start off at $8 million in 1 year, and 2 years later you end up with $600,000, you've got $7,100,000 being wiped out. I want to know what was wiped out. I want to know specifically what the item was, Because if we can do that and stay afloat, then we may not need the item. That's how I look at things. If you
Sure.
can cut it and stay afloat and notice, no one even notices you cut it, you didn't need it to begin with. I have a funny feeling, I don't want to put words into what you're going to deliver to us. I want to know what's in that bucket.
Sure.
So that when we get in front of the community and someone says, well, how did you trim $7.1 million off of something and we're still educating kids, I need to be able to tell them, and we need to be able to tell them, well, this is what we had to give up to get it. And I don't know what's in that $7.1 million.
Yeah, will do.
Any other comments or questions?
No, I'll move acceptance of the second term, interim.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Williams?
Yes.
Board President Wong?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Item I3, consider expulsion case number 1617-9. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Well,
Uh,
I have the motion.
Let's,
Oh, I'm
if we can ask you to reconsider your
I will
motion,
take,
please.
I will take it back.
So
If
noted.
I can have the second
Taken back as well.
confirm as well.
So let me make a
Mr.
motion.
Rich, if you can please make a
I
complete
move,
motion.
I move that expulsion case number 1617-09, student number 111-105-372, be held to an enforcement of an order of expulsion for the remainder of the current term and the first term of the 2017-2018 school year. This period commences on this 8th day of March 2017 and ends on the 9th day of December 2017. The expulsion is based on the findings of fact that the student violated the following provisions of the Education Code 48900C, where he possessed, used, sold, furnished under the influence of, or otherwise furnished any controlled substance.
Second.
Comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Williams?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
No.
Board President Wong?
I'm going to abstain because I missed a portion of the explanation that occurred while I was on vacation.
Motion carries 3-0.
3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
3-1, excuse me.
Thank you. Item 4, pending issues. Dr. Throsian?
Yes, I'd just like to call your attention to our local control accountability planning. We held our first meeting on Monday, March 6th, and we'll have 2 more meetings scheduled in the coming weeks.
If I can ask for the next board meeting, if we can have a study session and start our discussions on the budget. So we can hopefully take care of these discussions in small chunks versus running to this day of the meeting and having a singular 15-minute discussion on our entire budget. I know some of the discussion topics that we've spoken about recently were, for example, conferences and the costs and the benefits of such. If there are some other items that we can put into study session sizes, so we can hopefully get through more of these, so we can do that. Yes?
I would like to see us add an item on pending issues about can't speak tonight, legislative advocacy. Number one, I would like to have something before our next meeting with the city so we can present a united front on legislative advocacy. Number two, I think we need to get ourselves together before we go up to Washington to the Schools to Watch conference and make sure that we know what our agenda is as we talk legislation with those legislators up there. And number three, I would like to get it put together so we have something to go to the community. We heard about a bill tonight that you know, we may or may not support. We need some time to talk about that. Do we want to support it, and do we want to encourage the people of Monrovia to get behind that? We've got a bill waiting, Portantino's bill to start school much later, and I think we need to look at what our positions are on some of these things. And
All righty. Dr. Therosian, when do you think you would be able to put together a position piece for the board?
Also, may I add, I'd like to see a spreadsheet for the VMA and the total cost involved.
All right, well, let's get this one done, and then we'll go
Okay,
to.
well, I want to make sure you wasn't concluding.
No, I'm not
Okay,
concluding.
okay.
I believe we can have a position or some recommendations and pros and cons with both AB 586 presented today, as well as Mr. Portantino's bill about the start times of school by our next meeting on March 22nd for review, for inclusion in as an agenda item. The
But-
actual information would be presented approximately a week in advance.
But Ed's talking about having a discussion about legislative items, those specifically and others in general.
federal, all of it.
Absolutely.
But what I was saying here is if we could put it on the pending board issues as a recurrent thing, I think we need to look at this every year. What are we gonna advocate for and against in legislative action, both at state level and federal level?
I think on an ongoing basis, it makes sense to put that in our rolling rotation of things that we need to do on the long term. On the short term, the question is, did you want to have a piece in front of us before our next joint meeting with the city, which happens to be March the 22nd at 5:30 PM, by the way, but in this room, before our regular board meeting. But if we have it for that particular meeting, we need to have it obviously the week before, right? So that'd be what, next Friday? Next Friday's update?
If we can do that.
Is that
would be the
doable?
first piece of the rolling item.
Yes, I believe that is doable.
Perfect.
And as for the spreadsheet for VMA communications, we could have that in this week's update.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Any other items that we would
Well,
like to?
My question on that is, I think we had said we were gonna look at that periodically, how much we were spending on that contract.
That's what
And
I understand as well.
So if we could have that on the pending board issues and with a, I don't know whether we do that every quarter or what.
If you could put that in a monthly, does a monthly update work? Do they bill us on a monthly basis?
Quarterly update?
Or is it a quarterly?
As we receive the bills, we can review them and provide you with those. We have received our first.
Great.
All right, but in addition to just getting a bill, I do want some kind of an update on what exactly has been accomplished. I mean, we can see some of the great work that they've done in their press releases and so forth. But if they're doing additional things that we're not aware of, I think this is a good opportunity for the board to be fully up to speed on everything that they're providing. So if they're billing on a weekly basis, I don't need a weekly update, but perhaps a monthly or a quarterly update would be appropriate.
In addition to the work that was developed, and this is in particular to the press releases, and I understand the folks at VMA have absolutely no control over what gets printed and what doesn't. I would like to see the list of what does get printed so that we can see if what is going out in the universe and then what's actually being done with it, and if there's any success with it at all.
And I think that kind of goes back to one of the early questions we had, with the contact information that's been provided on the releases, is what kind of feedback we're getting, if any.
And it's not just on press releases.
Right.
If they're conducting, if they're doing the social pages, I'd like to know what's coming in and going out on the social network as well. How many contacts a day, how, you know, it's, I don't need to know what was said, I just need to know what was done.
Right, and you know, I think my goal in getting this information is to say, we feel public relations is vital as we have declining enrollment, and we want to make sure that we provide opportunities for students to come to our district for our programs. But we're spending a lot of money on public relations, and we need to see what that's resulted in.
Right.
Has that result, how many contacts, how many people have come into the district through those contracts? And I'm not sure how we could figure all of that information, but cost benefit has to be something we consider as we look at that whole program.
Actually, that's been my concern from the get-go. The audacity to print and move forward without approval and understanding. This is a very new project for all of us, and it would behoove us to just allow it to move forward without dissecting, quite frankly, every aspect of what they're doing on our behalf. No one can speak for the board but the board. No one can speak for the district but the district. But I'm just concerned about whether they're saying on our behalf, which includes, I understand that there has already been a bill brought to our attention. I just heard that. Did I not hear that?
We have received our first bill from VMA.
I remember in our discussions that we were going to dissect every bill that came to our attention. I'm just troubled that this organization, especially based on the solicitation that I saw with them soliciting their entire company, in addition to us, I'm just concerned who's profiting here. I'm just going to be very candid. What I saw, I was disappointed. I saw a lot of solicitation from them on our own information that was not approved by us. I think that we will miss a beat by allowing an individual or an identity or a company to speak on our behalf without dissecting every crack, corner, until we are comfortable moving forward with an automatic representation. I've seen them at our games, I've seen them everywhere, and frankly, I didn't expect to see personnel at our games. I didn't expect to see any of this. So I'm with Mr. Hammond and Mr. Gilliland. I think it needs to be dissected to the fullest. This is something brand new to us, and I'm not going to sit back and allow someone just come in and I'm just going to be straight to the point. You know, I know they represent others, but I also know that from a marketing standpoint, which I have the capacity for the last 20 years, that our representation for them could lead to other opportunities, and that's what disappointed me when I saw the language by contacting them. You know, like Mr. Hammond said, it would behoove us to know what kind of responses they're getting. You know, I like to know everything they're getting, what kind of response they're getting from the newsletter, what kind of response they're getting from that, so we can dissect the people that we hire to do our job.
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that anything that VMA releases has been reviewed and approved by the district office.
To my knowledge, it has. Other than what's on our Facebook page, we don't review all of the postings, but do submit the pictures.
Okay, but we do have people who are reviewing or checking whatever product's being put out, correct?
That is my understanding.
And at the same time, we have given, they do have a dollar limit, which we had agreed upon on a monthly basis that they were going to be within. Not that we were going to pay a flat rate, but it was at a fixed dollar per hour, not to exceed number, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and so I think what we want to see, what I'm hearing is, we would like kind of, since we haven't seen anything yet, and again, let me say, they've put out a lot of stuff, and I think they've been at a lot of things that I wasn't expecting them to be at. And so I think they've, personally, I feel the material they've put out has been top class stuff. But since we haven't seen a bill yet, if we can get just a review to what they are billing us for, just to make sure we're all on the same page and that the expectations are being met. Did I hear that correctly? Is that what the board's looking for?
That's my point, Brian. I'm really impressed with what they've done so far. And I'm perfectly happy with the contract we have with them and the payment that we agreed to in that contract. But what I'm looking for is the information that we can evaluate that after the end of that contract period. Would it be cost beneficial to extend
We
it?
just need to, I just want to qualify
Right.
by what they're doing to say that we're getting a benefit, same cost-benefit analysis.
Perfect.
Yeah, right.
Is that
Yeah.
cover you? All right. I mean, here's the thing. The thing is, we've never done this before. So, I think our general expectations individually may be in different spots. I don't have any I personally don't have any problems or qualms with any of the stuff they put out. I think they've done a phenomenal job. But at the same time, I only know some of the things that come across my desk. So it would be great to see everything that they've done and what the responses have been. So if we can put that together, that'd be great. At least once, and then we could discuss what to do with it on an ongoing basis.
Certainly.
Perfect. Do we have any other pending items that we would like to add or subtract, for that matter? Hearing none, we'll move on to old business. As I mentioned, we will be having a joint meeting with the city and a regular board meeting on March the 22nd, starting here at 5:30 p.m. Then our next meeting after that will be a full month later in April 26th, also at 7 p.m. This is open house season. We have a number of them going, at least five of them going through March. And as a reminder to the parents out there, we have a pupil-free day on March the 20th. Although your students are not working, our staff will be. So please keep that in mind. And
We have closed session.
with that, I am going to recess the open session and reconvene the closed session at 8:50 on the clock on the right.